Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. We are 4 days, technically 3.5, right? Because let's just say 4 days into the into the 3.26 expansion. And I have an update for you guys. The Brutus of Divine Judgment has been developing, and at least to say, I'm very, very pleased with the results of this build. This might be the best starter I've started with in quite some time. That being said, I'm definitely not following the meta. I usually do off-meta builds for the league start and for even after that. I always make my own builds. That being said, from all the versions of strength stackers I league started with, this one is probably the strongest. Very tanky, a lot of damage, and I'm generally speaking very pleased with it. And I'm going to give you guys a showcase how things look like. This is pretty much, I want to say 3 days into the league, because today I pretty much just started, so I'm after 3 days of gameplay, not 4. So, whatever, it's not important, it's just, technical stuff. But I'm going to give you a showcase. I'm going to tell you how I've been farming with, why I'm not using mercenaries, and then we're going to go quickly over POB, and of course I'm going to put the POB down in the description as always, so you guys can see what to do in order to reach this level of power. Alright, let's jump into it. We have, I've been farming, not the Crusader maps, but these influence maps. So far I've been doing destructive play for extra bosses and for, influence map drops. So let's just go for it. This one is going to be, nothing too crazy, right? I didn't want to put like super dangerous map for the showcase. That being said, I've been running some very, very dangerous maps. Very dangerous maps. This one is going to have, basically I'm going to have no flask charges, super buffed onslaught, and like some other stuff, right? Bosses will have increased life, unique monsters, so basic stuff. And yeah, I've been running all kinds of map modifiers with this build. I have absolutely every single point allocated on the Atlas tree. And yeah, it's really, really strong. I don't really die unless I run some like crazy tier 17 maps or something like that. That's, by the way, I haven't been dying on tier 17 maps either. Once again, as long as I don't run some like crazy modifiers, because at that point almost any build's gonna die. But especially 3-4 days into the league. That being said, the build is very tanky. The 90 all res certainly doing some work. On top of that, we have pretty much defenses of a Righteous Fire character, because we have 90 all res and regeneration at the same time. So, long story short, very powerful. Really, from all the starters that I've started with, I think that this one is probably the strongest, because I don't think I've ever been, we need to understand that I'm not a player that is going to like do tier 17 maps day 2 typically. I don't play that much, and I'm not like that efficient when it comes to like league starting and stuff like that. I don't like rush super hard, so like, I want to call myself a casual player, because that's definitely not the case, but I'm definitely not like Fopgun, if you know what I mean, right? When it comes to how fast I push, and definitely not Ben when it comes to how fast I can speedrun the game. So for me, these results are more than satisfying, right? It's just doing this level of content this early is truly, I don't want to call myself once again like a noob or something like that, but doing this level of content is certainly it's pretty satisfying how fast did this character develop to what it is. Now, hopefully we're not going to die into this Mercenary, because frankly, I haven't been even dying to Mercenaries mostly with this build, because sometimes, of course, occasionally there is going to be a Mercenary that literally is going to one-shot you. There's nothing you can do about it. But for the most part, you can tank them all good, and and it's going to be okay. I think the biggest problem, generally speaking, is the Mercenaries that have some sort of penetration and stuff like that, because these obviously will ignore your defenses completely, so this is not going to be a fun thing to fight them. We got the boss. The boss is going to have like 60% more monster life or something like that. And with destructive play, these are the buffed bosses. This was awkward because for the second part, I mean, pretty much for the entire fight, I didn't have my tincture up. That being said, they still die pretty fast, right? If I say so myself. Alright, this fight is going not it's not going to be the fastest because there is this phase 2. There we go. I think that Maven gave this guy like a damage reduction at the start of the fight. Now this guy is also going to get buffed. Yep, he got a damage reduction now. That being said, almost died to a poison. I don't have very high chaos resistance. I only have 11% right now, so this is something I'm going to be working on. If there is one thing that I would say is going to kill you the most, is going to be chaos. Although I do use chaos resistance flask here, I just didn't have it in this fight. But the next upgrade, probably I'm going to be looking for a helical ring to give myself insane amount of chaos resistance, and pretty much after that I'll be good, right? You know, you could fit in chaos resistance somewhere else also, but yeah, that's about it. So that's the showcase, right? That was not a super dangerous map, but even the super hard maps with like something like increased monster damage, extra damage as lightning or fire, all of that stuff I can tank no problem because it's just it's really tanky for a league start. For a character that you have 3-4 days into the league, this character is almost basically as tanky as your late game projects would be. I think I have like about 150,000 max hit. Maybe not that much right now because my health is still a little bit low. The points that I'm going to get in the future will literally go to this life and chaos resistance over here and this life over here. This is also going to give us damage because the more life we have, the more damage we have from wrath bits. So I'll keep on scaling damage, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about what I've been doing so far. So I've been doing destructive play, as I mentioned before. The Atlas tree looks like this. We obviously need to path over here to destructive play. This will summon extra bosses, as you saw in the fight here. Every time you fight a boss, as long as it's witnessed by Maven, and this will give you additional maps and drops and stuff like that. I have to admit that I'm probably going to change to something else soon. I've been able to get decent amount of currency from doing that, and it was okay for the first 2 days, but soon I'm probably going to swap to something else. But if someone wants to see exactly what I'm doing and you want to try it for yourself, because you are capable of doing these maps no problem, even with all of these modifier effect nodes, that's how strong the build is, then you can absolutely do so. The build basically looks like this, that you invest into map, chance to find maps as much as possible into this, and then you basically invest into this cluster over here that gives you quantity and rarity, and then more map modifier effect over here, and then the shaper and the conquer stuff to get the conquer and shaper that influence maps basically. And that's what I've been doing. It brought me a decent amount of currency, but it's nothing too crazy, as I mentioned before. I'll definitely going to be speccing into something else soon. What I'm going to be speccing into, I have no freaking idea. I honestly have no idea what I'll be farming. I'm going to come up with something, or I'm going to, if you have an idea what is a good farm for this league, because I'm kind of out of touch, then I would actually appreciate the suggestions in the comment section. I would very much appreciate that because, I can pretty much do anything I want. Oops, I didn't mean to go over there. I can do pretty much everything I want, but I just need something that is going to give me a lot of currency because I do have projects I want to do this league, and that's pretty much it. Now, why I haven't been running Mercenary? I've tried Mercenary for a little bit, for like a few hours. First of all, this build doesn't need it. Secondly, the mercenaries don't give that much to this build because even something like lucky damage from the amulet, right? They can put on your mercenary. I think I do have a mercenary over here. Yeah, I have this mercenary with this item, and I gave it some like basic items, whatever. I didn't really like try to do much with it yet. Even if you have this, there isn't that much that this mercenary is going to give to this build in particular. particular. Of course, there's this broken interaction with Doriani's chest that I know, for lightning builds, that is crazy. This is going to get nerfed for sure. I mean, for sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to get nerfed this week or soon, because it just doesn't make any sense, obviously. That being said, I don't know, like, I've been running with Mercenary so far, and I would get into the pack, and the Mercenary would kill the pack with, like, at least this Mercenary with like, kinetic blast, and then I would use my smite, and I would lose mana for no reason, and then I would be, I don't know, man. It's just like, I prefer to kill things myself. That being said, you can absolutely, if you're going to find like an appropriate Mercenary, you can absolutely use it. My recommendation would be probably using something with haste, because it will speed up the speed at which you will be doing maps. That being said, I don't know, man. Like, call me crazy, but I just don't like these guys. I don't like these guys. I prefer to just like play for myself and not care about the, like, random guy walking around and just like shooting projectiles, and every time I'm trying to hit something, they will kill it before me, and I'm just going to be standing there like an asshole and freaking doing nothing. I mean, look, I might sound totally delusional, don't get me wrong, I understand that, but I'm not a big fan. I'm just not a big fan. I legitimately hope that they were not going to put Mercenaries in game forever. That this is just going to be this league thing. That being said, as soon as I'm going to come up with some tech that will actually vastly improve this build through Mercenaries, I'm going to let you know, guys. But in order to do that, I would actually prefer for them to do a patch, because I'm sure there is going to be a balance patch addressing Mercenaries. Perhaps they're going to start dying way more often, because right now I'm pretty sure they're immortal pretty much. They have like a big damage reduction for free. Once this patch drops, then I'm going to address the situation and give you guys notes on what Mercenary to use for this build and what combinations of items would be the best. That being said, this is all I have to say about Mercenaries for now. So next up, I'm going to briefly talk about the improvements that I've made since the last video, at least the most important ones. So obviously the most important upgrade is Iron Fortress. It's incredibly cheap this league. You can get the normal one for like 1 chaos, literally, like a better roll for like 20 chaos or something like that. You can get the corrupted one very cheaply and 6-link yourself very easily with tainted fusings. It's going to cost you probably 2 to 3 divines the entire process, but that's still really cheap for like 6-link Iron Fortress with corruption. 2 to 3 divines, depending on how lucky you are or unlucky. If very unlucky, maybe 4 divines even. But it's pretty cheap for how powerful this chest is. And of course, this chest is absolutely insane. The best part about the corruption is that you can pretty much buy anything. +2 aura gems is going to work on smite. +2 duration gems is going to work on smite, as long as it's, I believe, Vol Smite of Divine Judgment. If it's going to be regular Smite of Divine Judgment, then it's not going to have the duration tag. But this one does. So duration is going to work. AoE is going to work. Aura is going to work. +1 level of Socketed Gems is going to work. Almost any +2 skills that you can get on a chest like this is going to work with Vol Smite. That's crazy, because it makes it very simple to get appropriate corruption and get a decent damage boost. Like, it's always better to buy a corrupted one with like +2 to skills. That's going to give you +10% extra damage or something like that, instead of like a regular one, right? It's always better, in my opinion. Especially that it's actually cheaper, I think, to corrupt to 6-link a corrupted one compared to like a regular one. It's actually cheaper thanks to tainted fusings from beyond, right? So this is great. Speaking about other upgrades, I do believe I had all of these items in the last video. Of course, I started investing into helical rings slowly. This one is already pretty decent, but I'll be working on that. I'm going to get a way better ring probably in the next video. Another important thing is that I dropped the Fortify cluster from here, and I invested into cluster. It wasn't with Overlord. It wasn't very expensive. You could obviously get something better if you had more currency, because you can get like Overlord and Martial Prowess, and this way you're going to spend less points to get around this entire cluster, which in the future I'm probably going to do. And then this medium cluster, very important, because this cluster is going to pretty much give you permanent onslaught with this because you keep on using General's Cry. Some people ask me why using General's Cry in this build is because it has with auto exertion is because the cooldown is 3 seconds. It's the only Warcry with a cooldown that this short, this low. Every other Warcry has cooldown equal to 8 seconds. This one is only 3. So this one is automatically going to proc every pretty much 2 seconds if you're going to have quality, which I have to put in there, by the way. And you're going to keep on getting your rage. You're going to keep on getting your charges from mob's mentality. You're going to keep on getting permanent onslaught from lead by example. Absolutely amazing cluster jewel, and you should invest into it because this is going to pretty much keep your charges up against tanky bosses. You're gonna be fighting pinnacle bosses. You're gonna be fighting Uber bosses. You'll be fighting tier 17 bosses, and you're gonna have your endurance. Endurance you're gonna have anyway, but you're gonna have your frenzy and power charges against bosses pretty much at all times. I forgot to put this over here, but that's whatever. Other than that, I was getting a jewel upgrades. Like for example, yesterday I got this one, right, which is actually like a lot of crit multi and attack speed. This is a really good jewel. I think I slammed the fire and cold resistance. I exalted it, so you know this is a really decent jewel. But for the most part, I would say that this is it. Also, like I got the awakened fire pen from actually this dropped. I didn't buy that. This actually dropped. And you know, some other small upgrades when it comes to improvements that I'm going to do in the future, because as you can see right now, in the perfect scenario when everything is up, but for the most part all these things will be up. I have about 17 million Shaper DPS right now. When actually everything is up, like everything pretty much explodes, including tier 17 bosses. Okay, I don't want to say that tier 17 bosses explode, but they die fast, right? Everything dies very fast at this point. So yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm going to keep on investing into Helical Rings. I'm going to get Awakened Gems, which awakened elemental damage with attacks and an awakened elemental focus shouldn't be too expensive. At this, getting to level 5 is actually going to be huge because I'm going to get more damage, but most importantly, at level 5, this Awakened Fire Pen will make you will inflict fire exposure on hit, which means that this is going to be additional pretty much 10% more damage. So like just leveling gems at this point is going to give me a lot of damage. And yeah, I'll be just looking to keep on improving this build, and I'm going to to give you guys an update. Probably next video is going to be like in 2 days or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. If you're gonna have any questions, feel free to ask you know, in the comments. I'm going to check everything, and of course I'm going to give you this POB if you want to look carefully what you want to, you know, where you want to find improvements and stuff like that. Then the POB is going to be available for you. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.